So periodically I do these posts on my website, Worthy of Zion, about how I'm doing. So how did I do this week? There's been one thing that has been kind of nagging me a little bit, and it's that I got up the other morning. I've had a really weird week. I've been super busy at work, and not sleeping well, working really long hours, and I had a couple of days this week where I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning, and I got up at 2:30 in the morning one day, and I started to work, and I worked up until about the time that I got ready for work, and then went to work. The next morning I woke up again at 2:30 in the morning, and I was sitting there, and the thought came to mind I should go to the temple. And it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I have this thought, you should go to the temple. And it was cold. I think it was raining that day. I knew I had a ton of work that I had to do, and I talked myself out of it. I can't say that I feel really good about that. I got some work done. I went to work. Work was okay aside from all the stresses of work. But I've had that thought come to mind at least a dozen times since that day, that I was prompted to go to the temple and I didn't do it. I totally could have. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I could have gone to any temple. The temple by me, the Timpanogos temple, is closed currently. But I could have driven to Provo. I could have driven to Saratoga Springs. I could have driven to Draper. I could have driven to Ochre Hills. Could have driven to West Jordan. Taylorsville. There's half a dozen temples I could have driven to and gone to, and it would have been really easy, and I still would have made it to work on time, and I chose not to do it. So not kicking myself in the butt, but realizing that, if my quest is to listen to the Holy Ghost and follow when prompted, I didn't do a very good job at it that day. And it was, I don't remember off the top of my head what the quote was, but John Pontius, in one of his books, talks about recognizing a prompting from a thought. And this felt a lot, as I think back on it, felt a lot more like a prompting than a thought. Sometimes when we think to ourselves, it's kind of like, should I, shouldn't I? This was more like just a subtle go to the temple. Really subtle, just that. Short, simple, direct, go to the temple. And I thought about it, and I thought, and it was just simply the feeling of not really wanting to versus not being able to, not having the time to, not physically being able to, sick, whatever it might be. Whatever reason, I didn't do it. So there are obviously things I can work on better. Aside from that, and being incredibly busy at the moment, I did have one other really interesting thing happen in the last week. As I've been trying to follow the promptings of the Holy Ghost and person that I had an old friend call me from many years ago that I had done a previous business with that never really took off. We had produced a product. Our partnership fell apart. It didn't go anywhere. And we all went our own ways. Well, she ended up calling me out of the blue and asking me to work on something semi-related to what we did before, and help her with it. And I've had kind of this really funny thing going on where I for many years I wanted to start a lot of businesses, try to have a number of successful businesses, and for whatever reason it's eluded me. For various reasons. That's a whole nother story. But I decided a while ago that I wasn't going to do anything else unless I was prompted to do it. I wasn't going to start another company. I wasn't going to go take another job. I wasn't going to second job or anything like that or whatever, unless I really felt like I should do it. And one of the things I really felt like I should do is this Worthy of Zion blog. I felt like something was kind of missing in my life, and as I was studying and reading, all of a sudden I feel as though I felt like this impression that I should share my testimony, I guess, in a blog, and I had this desire to at the same time I feel like I had this impression of my goal in life should be this, and it's that if at some point in my life I stand at the gates of Zion, I want to be worthy to enter, which is where the Worthy of Zion comes from. I want to be worthy to enter. So I need to do the things I need to do to be worthy to go in there, should I stand there at some point in my life. And I don't know if that's my calling in life, but as I've been going through that path, and I have just been talking about gospel topics and mostly writing about them, I felt like I should do these videos. And I've been really slow at making videos, producing videos. And even this video is probably really slow for whoever's watching it. So, but at some point or at different points I've had to restrain myself, because oftentimes I would have an idea and just run with it. I should do this and run with it. I should do this and run with it. And I a lot of times I could end up, and I have ended up, running half-cocked into a situation. Starting something, running with something, occupying my time with something that I haven't really felt called to do, and I haven't really felt as though it was my path, and I felt like I've been kind of forcing it, and at the time I'm forcing it and it starts to consume all of my time, I realize I don't have time for things that matter more, like, say, gospel study, teaching and preaching and talking about the gospel even, and even at times you feel like you're stubbing your toe against a wall instead of progressing forward. And so it's been important for me kind of at this point where I've kind of channeled and tried to focus on limiting what I do unless I feel as though I'm really supposed to do it. That this friend calls me. And as I talk to her, and I've thought about the situation and things, and I'll talk about it more down the road if it ends up coming to fruition. But I kind of felt as though it's something that I should possibly get involved in and should participate in. And so there is a chance that I may, and what I'm trying to do right now is see if it'll fit into a pattern that will work for me, that I can make a contribution to that and help grow and develop that while doing this, while doing my day job and things. So but we'll see what happens. And again, it really, like all things that I'm trying to do right now, I'm trying to just do the things that I feel that, going back to that, the Holy Ghost is directing me to do and spend my time and energy on. And we'll see what happens. But that's kind of how, those are kind of two things that have kind of happened to me in the last week or so. And other than that, I don't know that I have any great or vast words of wisdom. I would just encourage everybody, if it doesn't need to be on the fanatical side of things. I don't know that you need to be. You just need to be seeking the good things in life.